This is part 2 of installing OpenSquiggly on a DigitalOcean droplet. In the first video, I created the droplet and I attached 30 gigabytes of storage, but I selected the option where I wanted to manually format and attach the disk. So we're going to go through that in our setup script here. So the first step is I'm going to SSH into that VM, and I'm going to SSH root at, and then put in the IP address or the DNS name. All right, and do I want to accept the fingerprint? Yes. Okay, that's fine. And now what I want to do is cd into opt, do sudo apt update. Sudo apt install unzip. All right. And now I'm going to use wget to get the zip file. Sudo wget files OpenSquiggly.com, OpenSquigglyLatest.zip. All right, that looks fine. And now I'm going to unzip that file. Sudo unzip OpenSquigglyLatest, and I'm going to unzip that into OpenSquiggly. Okay. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to change into opt OpenSquiggly setup, and I'm going to do sudo bash DigitalOcean setup.sh. Right. Do you want to format and mount a newly attached disk? So as we discussed in the prior video, because I selected that I did not want to have DigitalOcean automatically format it for me, I'm going to say yes here. If I did, then I could say no here, but we're going to go through this in a way that gives us a little bit more control over where it maps it. All right, so the first thing it wants me to do is look at this list of devices, which I only have one, and I want to find the device I'm interested in, which is easy since there's only one of them. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, and I'm going to paste that into the device name. Okay. And then it asks me to confirm, so I type in yes. All right, and where do we want to mount the partition /data? Now this is different than the default. If you select automatic, then I think it puts it in /mnt/ and then your device name. But I like just having it in /data, which is one of the reasons why I selected to do this manually. All right, so I put in /data. And now it wants me to look over this list and make sure it looks right. And this last entry here, /dev/SDA, is that 30 gig disk that we attached, and it's mounted in /data. That looks correct. So I'm going to say yes, that looks correct. All right, do I want to add it to your fstab file? This is important so that we'll automatically remount that every time the VM is restarted. I say yes. All right, and this is the entry that it added to the bottom of the fstab. We print out your fstab so you can kind of see it. All right. Do you want to install MongoDB? Yes. All right. We'll just wait for that to complete. It may take a minute or two. Just be patient with it. All right, that's done. And where do I want the data stored at? /data/MongoDB. Remember that we're trying to put all of our data on that external disk. /data/log/MongoDB for where the logs are going to go. All right, do you want to install Elasticsearch? Yes. Again, give that a minute. My wife is talking in the background. Not sure if it's picking that up or not, but okay, anyway, so we want the data stored in /data Elasticsearch /data/log /Elasticsearch. All right, and this enabling of the Elasticsearch service will take a minute or two, so be patient with that. All right, that's done. Do you want to install the .NET Runtime? Yes. Again, let that run. All right, do you want to generate a new app settings.json file? Yes, we do. Now understand that our zip file, the app settings.json file is the file that's going to store all the settings that's necessary for the Open Squiggly web service to run. We do not ship with an app settings JSON file. We give you the ability to generate the app settings from our script. And so we're going to go ahead and say yes here. All right, and it wants to know where we install Open Squiggly at, so Open Squiggly /bin. Right. All right, now what this message here is telling us is that in the course of creating the app settings.json file, it automatically generated two random keys for us, the encrypted main key and the encrypted app title. And those keys are used to encrypt data in the Mongo database. And the reason why we do that is so that we don't end up storing things like content for your wiki pages and things like that in plain text in your Mongo database. That way, if you peruse your Mongo database, let's say with, Compass or some other database, management tool, you won't see your unencrypted content. And so to make that happen, we use this encrypted main key. However, the consequence of us doing that is that means that you've got to make sure that you don't lose your keys, because the keys go with that database. Once you marry your keys and your database together, if you lose your keys, you won't be able to read your database. And so that's what this message is telling you, is to make sure that you save those keys off. You could save off your entire app settings.json file. That might be the best bet. But anyways, so in order to make sure that you understand that, the script makes you type in a message that says, yes, I will make a backup. All right, it's just reinforcing that you need to make sure that you don't lose those keys, otherwise you'll never be able to read your database. All right. Do you want to initialize the Open Squiggly web service? Yes. All right. And where did you install it? /Open Squiggly /bin. All right. And here for DigitalOcean, the username is just going to be root, excuse me. Every cloud provider is a little bit different here. On Azure, it's Azure User by default. On Amazon, it's Ubuntu by default. And in Linode and DigitalOcean, it's root by default. So we're going to put in root here, and it's done. So now, just to verify, we can do sudo system control status Open Squiggly, and that should say that it started it okay. See here, it says active and running. That looks good. Okay. And then if we can also just test a couple other things, we can look at our MongoDB instance by doing sudo system control status mongod. And that tells us it's running and active. And then the same thing for Elasticsearch. All right. And that is active and running. All right. So that concludes this part of the setup script. In the next video, what we're going to do is actually log into the instance and create a user, and then log into that user and create some sample content and things like that, just to prove that we have a working instance. That concludes this video. Thank you for watching.